Hello, everyone. Welcome to DMNS EP Lunchtime Chats, where we give you a little window into the kinds of conversations we get into behind the scenes of the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Important questions like, who would win in a fight between a camel and a swan? The answer might surprise you. It certainly surprised me. Today we're going to talk about hypothetical hysterical animal matchups, and this is inspired by March Mammal Madness, which is run by a biologist, I think, evolutionary biologist named Katie Hind, who started it back in 2013. She creates a bracket just like March Madness, but with all sorts of really cool, weird animals you've never heard of, and then they create matchups. And before I get any further, we should introduce our panelists here. Everyone you see on your screen is an educator performer at the Museum of Nature and Science. And one of the most fun parts is just filling out the bracket, because there's always quite a few animals you have to look up to figure out just what they are. So they're going to introduce themselves and tell you an animal that they learned about. So first we have Sierra.
Hi, everybody. I brought my bracket with me so you can see kind of what it looks like. All of these animals matched up against each other. And my favorite animal that I learned about this year is the African civet. It looks like somebody smushed together a raccoon and an ocelot, and I love it. Look at how cute he is. Look at him.
Awesome. And then we have Abid.
Hello, everyone. My name's Abid. The animal that I picked that I liked the most was a tree hyrax. They're very interesting looking. They kind of look like a grandpa. Google them. They're very cool. But yeah.
And finally, right up above me on your screen is Amanda.
All right. Hi, my name's Amanda. My favorite animal was not in this year's bracket. It was back in 2019's bracket. And it's called a moon rat, nicknamed the night stinker. Because, well, if anybody knows my propensity for fart jokes, of course I'm going to pick the night stinker. This is what the night stinker looks like. A little bit like a rat, a little bit like a possum. I have a soft spot in my heart for a possum. But they stink. They smell like ammonia and rotten onions. So, got to give them some love.
Little stinker.
Awesome. And that is our panel. So, if you're sad there was no basketball March Madness, you can still play Mammal March Madness. We will put a link in the comments to where you can find the brackets. I'll just warn you that right at the top it'll tell you who the champion is. So maybe get someone to like get the bracket and download it and pass it out and fill it out. And then you can go through, because it doesn't just tell you who wins. These the team behind it does a lot of research, and they come up with completely scientifically plausible ways these encounters would go. At our museum, the person who maintains this and keeps score and gets everyone involved is Amanda. So Amanda, do you want to tell us a little more about how you discovered Mammal March Madness?
I would love to tell you how I discovered it, but honestly, I don't remember how I discovered it. I have no idea, but I just remember like thinking in the office, I'm like, man, I work with a lot of nerds and none of them like sports. And I am arguably the office jock. So I had to find something that, you know, you guys could all get into, and you're all totally adorkable people. So why not Mammal March Madness? Gets in touch with the nerdy side, but also appeals to my sportsy side. So it started off, I would say, probably with just around 15 people doing the brackets. And I think this year I had about 40 brackets. So it's grown exponentially in the 5 or 6 years that we've been doing it. Mitch, would you like me to share the whole rundown on how they choose winners? All right. So we talked a little bit about Katie Hind. She started this in 2013, originally by herself. She picked 64 mammals and did extensive research on all of them. Since then, she's added like probably 3 or 4 more biologists or professors. And they do extensive research on these animals. They figure out their temperament, their diet, their habitat, their fighting styles. And then pits them against, well, seeds them, and then pits them against these animals. So there is a bit of luck that goes along with it. They also have a 100-sided dice that they roll, and that will give you kind of the element of surprise, right? We know that nothing in nature is 100%. Cheetahs only are successful, I think, 1 out of every 10 hunts. So there is some luck that goes along with surviving these battles. But it's really fun. I think this year there was the Cusimanse that knocked off the harbor seal. So huge upset, the number 2 seed in the harbor seal versus the number 15 seed in the Cusimanse. So that's how it all goes down. Super fun. Definitely you should get into it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so there are definitely some surprises. And by the way, we'll have some spoilers for Mammal March Madness 2020, but we will not reveal any other past ones. So you can still play 2013 through 2019 with no spoilers in this conversation. In 2020, I was sure the Australian feral camel was going to take it all, and I was shocked when it was taken down by a swan. But they had great reasons. Now, thanks to Mammal March Madness, I know that trumpeting swans are used to chasing mooses away from their nesting areas. So a trumpeting swan coming up against a large ungulate is some experience, I guess. A bid. Were there any matches this year that particularly surprised you?
Yes, a lot of them did. Particularly, there was a gopher tortoise that kind of decimated the ranks. I really thought he was going to go out in the beginning, but there was one matchup where it was a pika versus the hedgehog, and I really just wanted the pika to win because it's so cute. But they were both pretty cute, I guess. I was assuming that the pika might take it over the hedgehog, but the hedgehog won it, I guess, probably because of its spikes.
You know, we must have had similar brackets because I also chose that pika, sort of like a hometown loyalty sort of thing, knowing that it was going to be too hot for him in the hedgehog's habitat. But I couldn't help it. You're right. It's so cute.
Yeah, that gopher tortoise surprised everyone, and there were plenty of shelter-in-place jokes about how gopher tortoise, that's how they live their lives, and it really worked out. And it's worth noting that, like, they really do pay attention to animal behaviors. It really is like an encounter that would actually happen. So they're not usually a fight to the death. If an animal gets scared away or is not able to thrive in the environment long enough, then they can lose. And Sierra, how about you? What were your big surprises this year?
I think my favorite surprise this year was the cod, which is the smallest wild cat in the Americas. It's like a little kitten, and it was taken out early on by, I think, that the tree hyrax that Abid was talking about. But then in the next round, even though it had been defeated, it showed up as a predator that interfered with a later battle, which I thought was a hilarious surprise. I loved the comeback of the cod.
I was really rooting for the cod just because there's a similar cat in Africa called the black-footed cat. It's little teeny tiny, but it has the highest kill rate of any cat predator. It's like a 60% kill rate, which is kind of insane.
And just a note, anyone watching on Facebook, we are monitoring your comments. So please, if you have a question or you want to, there's some trash talking from our colleagues. Our colleague Talia is bragging about how often she won, but not this year. Not this year, Talia. And then Allison Otto says, where's the honey badger? The honey badger would beat them all. And no spoilers, but a couple of years ago, honey badger was in the bracket. And if you're a honey badger fan, absolutely go back and read the rundown of all those matches. They were exciting. You'll appreciate. Not telling you what happened, but check it out. And yeah.
I think, Mitch, I know you were pretty upset about the swan even being in it, considering it's called March Mammal Madness. Yep, I know. And there have been a lot of people that were a little upset about that. And they've slowly been moving. I think the first one was the Gila monster who made it in because he was the previous year's biggest trash talker. So they were like, fine, you're in it next year. And it didn't win. So foot in the mouth, right? But I think my favorite one that was not a mammal this year was the bogue. The bogue versus the cuttlefish in the beginning. And the bogue is like a little fish that has a huge eyeball. And its scientific name, we all were like really hoping that it was pronounced boop boops. The cute little boops boops. And we were quickly shut down by the office, actually. And it was boops. But we refer to it as bee boops. Bee boops is like a super carrier of bacteria and worms. And I totally had it getting eaten by the cuttlefish, which is exactly what happened. And then going into the next round with like just riddled with parasites. And I don't even remember how it happened, but I know the cuttlefish went out in that round. I'm pretty sure. But come on, bee boops. How can you not cheer for bee boops?
Yeah, bee boops, incredibly cute. All right, so Talia has written in and wants to know, what is your favorite animal and why does it have what it takes to win Mammal March Madness? A bid.
My favorite animal? God, that's a tough one. All right, I'm gonna go with the Peregrine Falcon. It's my favorite animal just because of sheer speed and the way the way it kills prey is usually it'll be above them. It's got a diving speed of over, I think it's over 200 miles an hour it could dive. So usually it main preys like pigeons, and it'll knock into a pigeon and just completely render it unconscious. And then that's usually how it gets prey. I feel like a peregrine falcon hitting anything, even a large thing, will definitely knock it out a little bit. I mean, it'll probably hurt the peregrine falcon also, but yeah, I think it'll do it.
Sierra, what's your favorite animal and how could it win?
I am known around the office for my inability to commit to a favorite animal because they are also spectacular. I think today I'm going to go with the pangolin, which is a bit like an armadillo, but he looks straight out of like your favorite anime cartoon. Like a little possum with his hands like this and these incredible scales. One of the only mammals to have scales like that, and he can just roll up into a ball and is basically impenetrable. You can find pictures of tigers trying to bite through this armor, and it can't be done. Who's going to beat him? Pangolin, all the way.
Once again, no spoilers, but Pangolin was in the bracket a few years ago, and I won't tell you what happened, but you should go back to mammalsuck.blogspot.com and look up past matchups and see how the pangolin fared. All right, Amanda, what's your favorite animal? How would it win?
Oh, this is so hard. It's so hard because I have a soft spot in my heart for spiders. But I don't know I don't know they have what it takes. Don't tell our curator of arachnology that. I don't know if they have what it takes to win the whole thing. I think orca, if you've ever watched a nature show and you watch those guys hunt, it is absolutely horrifying. And it might be the reason I won't ever go into the water again. They're terrifying.
And Amanda, well, we've got you. You got a shout out from your sister about a jackalope in your grandparents' basement. How do you think a jackalope would fare in an encounter like this?
Yes, there was a jackalope in my grandparents' basement. And looking back on it, like I said, I think a jackalope has an inflated sense of confidence when really it's just a rabbit. It's just a rabbit, right? I mean, yeah, with antlers, right? But no, I think when it comes down to it, it's all bark, no bite, and it it wuss out pretty quickly.
I mean, they are most famous for being extremely hard to catch or even see. So they're definitely a good a running, hiding prey, probably their top skills. Molly on Facebook wrote in, and longtime listener, first time caller, she says, and is wondering what happened to the amoeba. The amoeba was a long shot this year, I think, and some people thought it could go all the way, but does anyone remember what happened to the amoeba? Everyone's checking. You're seeing them reaching outside to check their notes about what happened this year.
That it was beaten by the spear-toothed shark, but I don't remember how that battle went down.
I don't remember it. I feel like it just didn't exist in the battle, really. It was just kind of like, here I am, here I go. I think that's, I don't know, I gotta look into it.
I mean, one thing I love about Mammal March Madness is the super long shots and the humor of the categories. A few years ago, one of the categories was category, and it was all animals that are named after cats but are not cats, like sea lions and a cat snake and a leopard frog. And the big long shot that year was the dandelion, which did not do well. I believe it got stepped on by a hippo in the first round. Amanda, did you find it?
I did. Molly, your answer to the amoeba question. Using its ampullae of Lorenzini, spear-toothed shark senses the electrical impulses coming from the prawn, which is what the amoeba was hanging out on. It closes in and engulfs both the prawn and the amoeba. Yeah, it's similar to, I think a tardigrade was also a competitor, I think it was last year, and it was the alt champion because it just moved from one animal to the next, right? You can't take those guys down, little water bears, right? They're unbeatable.
Yeah, they survived the depths of space. Fun fact on Facebook from Amanda Ann, the orca is the only known marine predator for a moose. That is wild, wild.
I have been going around saying that fact to everybody at the museum that I could find when I found that out, because it's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know what that moose is doing in the water, but
I think he's going after marine vegetation, like maybe in the Pacific Northwest, where you might have both moose and orca. This gets a little too deep and chomp.
amazing, amazing. All right, so we're getting towards the end, so I wanted to mix it up a little bit. Mammal March Madness is super fun. What would happen if these animals encountered themselves in the wild? And it's super fun to choose your team and make your judgments about that. But what if it was a different sort of category? I'm going to start with Amanda. If you were to take from the animal world to fill out the roster on your soccer team, what are some animals that you think would succeed?
Oh man, on my soccer team? All right, jumping spider in the net. You're not getting anything by that guy. The leaps So jumping spider in the net. Probably the jumping spider sparkle muffin. Real name. Let's see. At striker, I would go with cheetah. Midfield, central midfield, I got to go with like a big animal. Probably the gorilla, somebody who could dominate, like really dominate in the air. Man, defender. Somebody. Maybe an octopus. Or maybe switch. Octopus in the net, spider at the defender. Game over.
That is a formidable team for sure. All right, Abid. Let's say you were casting a summer Shakespeare festival. What are some animals you would use to really lift the bard?
Okay, all right. Summer Shakespeare Festival. Peacock spider. You ever seen them dance? They're incredible. You don't really dance to Shakespeare, but you will now. A cassowary. If anybody doesn't know what a cassowary is, it's a, I don't know, I think it's a flightless bird. It kind of looks like an ostrich, has this like really incredible crest, and it's a very aggressive animal. So it's beautiful and aggressive. I feel like that applies to Shakespeare in some way. We go with one more. A typical house cat. I just feel like there's so much there. I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I definitely have seen some cats really capture human pathos and drama in their performances. So I think, well done, well done. All right, Sierra, you're getting together your dance squad. What sort of animals are you going to recruit?
Think about the best dancers in the animal kingdom. Abid already took the peacock spider for his festival, so I guess we'll be an arachnid-free crew. I think I would probably take an elephant. I actually recently read a study about dancing animals, and apparently true dance, is spontaneous music or spontaneous movement to music. And elephants are one of the only animals that have been known to do that. And think about the creative trunk movements. Just think would really bring something special. I think maybe some sort of parrot or like cockatoo, something that's got like a good costume built in. He's ready to move. And a third dancer for my crew, I'm gonna go with a spider monkey. Just quick and unpredictable. He's gonna be our wild card. I think we're taking it home.
Amazing. And people at home, please play that game for yourself as well. People on Facebook are saying, Amanda, it seems like you've thought about what animals you would put on your soccer team before. And Eduardo suggested a blue whale in the net, which seems like a good idea. Chelsea said a cassowary would make an excellent villain, terrorizing the audience. And yeah, Eduardo also suggested a possum are great at playing dead. A lot of people die in Shakespeare, so.
I'm gonna just respond to Eduardo's blue whale in the net. Yes, theoretically, that would make total sense. And in a totally hypothetical soccer team, yeah, sure. But how many soccer games are played underwater? The blue whale's gonna have a real hard time. Real hard time. That's all.
Yeah, I could play that one game, and then you'd have to find a new goalie. All right, well, that's about the end of our time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will be back next Tuesday at noon. And if you missed this conversation, it'll be on Facebook or the new exciting Learn section of the Denver Museum of Nature and Science website. And you can check out our past conversations there, too. Thank you so much for joining us. And Sierra, thank you for imitating those animals dancing while you were describing it. That was really fun. And check out mammalsuck.blogspot.com. Mammals suck milk, by the way. And here's a question to ponder. A coconut has fur and produces milk. Therefore, it is a mammal. All right, that's it for us, everyone. Thank you so much, and stay safe.